The last general election were in a category of their own. I mean, it was a turning point from where I sit in the politics of Kenya. And I have 4 reasons why I think it was a turning point. Number one, it is the election where the 2 national formations had actually a national face on either side. The ethnic configuration that always informed our politics was not there. We had both sides presenting a national face in their formation. Number 2, we had the most evident issue-based election. The election was about issues. There are issues that we differed. Our brothers on the other side, for example, said borrowing money was good because we were using other people's money to run our development, which made some sense. We argued on our side that we needed to slow down on borrowing because borrowing could lead us to a different place. But we also had occasion when both formations agreed, like, for example, on housing. So it was issue-based. We had an issue-based election. It is also correct that we had a closely contested election. Again, because it only happens in Kenya that in our last election, the opposition leader became the government candidate. And the sitting president of the government became the opposition candidate. And as things should be, the opposition candidate, who was the then sitting deputy president, won the election, and the sitting president then handed over power to his deputy and went ahead to become the leader of the opposition party. That only happens in Kenya, I think. So it was quite amazing. The 4th characteristic of our last election, from where I sit, is that with all that, we ended up with a peaceful election. And we thank God for a peaceful election and a peaceful country. Democracy is a divine political gift which enables us to compete vigorously, as we always do, but also empowers us to reconcile our aspirations and recognize the fundamental unity of our truest aspirations in a single vision for a free, strong, prosperous, united, and secure nation. This vision cannot admit the weaponization of political differences to punish the vulnerable, prejudice the innocent, injure the hardworking, and afflict the struggling. Pursuit of political aspirations must also enhance justice, not undermine it, expand freedom, not constrict it, and must increase democracy, freedom, and security, and not promote autocracy, tyranny, impunity, destruction, or fear. Isaiah 1:18 reminds us to reason together. Today, we are in the midst of a robust national conversation about public policies. Our democratic culture has endowed us with a rare opportunity to reason together and reconcile with our current realities. We all agree, seated here, members of parliament from all sides, leaders from all sides, that we have 5 million of our young people out of school without jobs. 800,000 young people join them in the labor market every year. I was looking at the budget last night. 628 billion will be spent in the education of our children in this year's budget, from primary school all the way to our universities. Yet, it is important for us to figure out how this investment will yield results for us as a nation. We all agree that our manufacturing, which we anticipated would go from 9% to 15%, has instead gone backwards to 7%. And we need to put policy interventions like the ones of promoting our manufacturing endeavors, making sure that we provide opportunities and interventions to promote manufacturing. We are all agreed that our exports as a percentage of GDP have come down from 28% to 10%. We need to do something about it. We need to promote, we need policy interventions that will encourage our exports. We all agree that 7 million Kenyans today live in informal settlements, suffer the indignity of living in settlements that do not have adequate water, do not have adequate sanitation. They are our brothers and sisters. We all agree that our agricultural land is threatened by subdivision, and food insecurity is a reality. That is why we have a conversation about the high cost of living. We need to do something about it. We all agree that borrowing is not the way out of our current situation, that our debt has increased from about 4 trillion to 9 trillion in 5-6 short years. We must reconcile ourselves to that truth. So, as we participate in this important debate on the finance bill, let us ask God to open our eyes and enable us clearly see the real choices that we have to make. And I want to remind you the words of Daniel 11:32 that say, even in the context where we are, Daniel reminds us that, but those who know their God, they will be strong and they will do great exploits. Living within our means requires us to work with what we have. You remember Moses, when he was confronted with a situation, God asked him, what do you have in your hand? And you know what he had in his hand. You also remember Jesus asked his disciples when they were confronted with a situation of feeding 5,000 people. Jesus asked the young man and the lady, what do you have in your hand? We are at the threshold of great transformation and in a moment which demands singular courage. Our commitment is under test. Only bold decisions will enable us to make the best of this opportunity to unlock the possibilities of the Kenya we all want for ourselves and for our children. It is time to be bold and brave. Delay tactics and sabotage are written in the shaky handwriting of cowards. Excuses are the nails used to construct the coffin of failure, as procrastination is a thief of time. Let us be reconciled with God. Let us be reconciled to one another. Let us also be reconciled to our collective aspirations in order for us to live up to the true promise of this moment and our common destiny. I listened to my brother Michael Hastings very carefully, and he spoke to our hearts. And let me say, if you don't remember anything he said, if you don't remember anything that I have said, if you don't remember anything that was said by anybody, please just remember his words. He said, if you feel pain, you are alive. But if you feel the pain of others, you are a human being. I mean, if there is one thing that he has told us that is profound in what I heard him speak, if we all feel the pain of what it is that we have to do, then we are alive. But if we feel the pain of others, then we are human beings. I want us to ask ourselves, if we feel the pain of the 3%, then it's because we are alive. But if we feel the pain of the millions of young people who are looking for a job, if we feel the pain of the 7 million Kenyans who live in indignity in slums, then we are human beings. Lord Michael Hastings also told us about this occasion of what was called the amazing shot by this great photographer, Kelvin Carter, of this person, this child, confronted by a vulture. It was a moment. But he walked away. And he never remained the same. You heard that he committed suicide. As leaders, we know, we witness every day millions of our young people confronting us in our markets, in villages, in our streets. We all travel the 1,411 informal settlements, slums in Kenya. We see those people. Let us not do what Kevin Carter did. Let us not take photographs of them. Let us not take selfies of them and walk away. Let us do something about their situation.